children are constantly engaging in the digital world, and that's not a new thing, well, at least these days. Whether it's educational or recreational, technology dependence is increasing. There's been public debate that digital technologies may contribute to mental health problems among adolescents and children. An annual report by the South African Child Gauge details the situation of children in South Africa. For more, I'm joined by Dr. Rachana Desai, postdoctoral research fellow at Wits University. She joins me now for that particular conversation. So the Child Gauge report comes out annually, Dr. Desai, and you've contributed to this year's one with a particular look at the impact of technology dependence, and the mental health of children and adolescents. Why was this an important area of study for you?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I think with the COVID pandemic, it's shifted the entire world onto virtual neighborhoods literally overnight, changing the way we live, socialize, learn, move around, and work. And I think a lot of concern has come through in terms of some public debates around mental health and online exposures for children. And so we thought that this was an important piece of work to publish for the public as well.
So a lot of parents are often concerned about addiction, digital technology addiction, games, etc., that their children are just not moving away, can't be peeled away from those smart devices and other devices as well, especially when they are now able to play as a virtual community, which children are able to do. But I imagine that among the topics you covered, that's probably one of many other concerns.
Yes, I think what's important to understand is that also not all screen time is bad. And we also have to move away from the idea that being online is associated with harmful consequences. The digital world now exposes children to information, social connection, education, online support groups, and professional help. So we shouldn't be watching the clock. Parents shouldn't be watching the clock, but it's really about the quality of what children are doing online. So while they're spending all of these hours online, are they being imaginative? Are they being creative? Are they learning? So it's important to let children go online, but as long as it doesn't displace other important activities like doing homework or sleep.
Yeah, and nowhere is that need for that balance in terms of how parents respond to their children's use of technology. Nowhere is that balance more displayed than in the area of social media, you say. It can have incredibly terrible, negative consequences, but at the same time, it could be a platform for access to services and reaching out and being able to find help, you say.
Yes, absolutely. So while there are some exposures to harms, there are also many benefits to going online. And so, like I said, balance is key. You don't want to prevent children from going online when it could be a source of professional help or mental health information. So balance is always key.
Yeah. But I guess the point I was trying to get you to talk to is that there's also the other negative aspects that have to do with bullying, etc., and ideas about self-harm that end up, coming into play and in some instances, and just perceptions about one's body and who one is that are based on interactions with nameless, faceless people on social media.
Yeah, so I think what the research has also found is that the differing online experiences is better explained by what happens in a child's offline world. So there are certain factors that make children more vulnerable to negative online experiences than others. So for example, poor peer and parent relationships, growing up in adverse communities, often all of that translates to the way in which a child engages online. So offline and online bullying, for example, are related. But it's more so to do with really what is the online world is really a reflection of what's going on offline as well.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think maybe it's a good note for you and I to end off this conversation. What's the big takeout then? Because I see that you say in your article, in the conversation there, that a lot of the young people who end up seeking negative content online actually have mental health issues that need attending to offline in their real world experiences. And so taking that and also taking the balance we were talking about earlier on, because the knee-jerk reaction, for example, among parents is to say, you are banned from going online, or you'll only be online for an hour, only online for 2 hours, without worrying about what's the quality of that 1 hour that is spent online. So sum it up for me. What's the big takeout around the relationship between what happens in the real world, as we would call it, and the virtual world, as well as the role of parents in observing that particular dynamic?
Yeah, I think parents play the biggest role in access to the online world. And so I think some useful tips that I can share with parents is that one shouldn't control all. And so while parental controls and surveillance tech do have their place to protect their children online, it also teaches children that these may be solutions to the way people stay safe. But in this hyper-connected world, it's rather the internal safeguards like empathy, resilience, values that are much more powerful and serve our children throughout their lives, whether it's online or offline. So I think what parents can do is to model good behavior, get media literate themselves and collaborate with their children, ask their children what are their favorite apps, and ask them to show them how it works. I mean, children love teaching adults and they love the mutual respect and fun that comes with it. And I think it's more about having that open communication about their child's digital engagement rather than banning all.
Yeah, and I like that point you make about modeling good digital online behavior as a parent, because it's quite something. It's quite one thing for us to expect that our children are in their best behavior when they are online and people interacting with them are not bullying them or exposing them to harm in as far as their mental health is concerned. But on the other hand, we as parents are bad online citizens and we don't model the good behavior that you're talking about. Lastly, please talk to me about the role of tech companies. Is there something we can do that's perhaps even local without having to wait for big international action and pressure and a movement internationally that speaks to the mental health of children online with tech companies? Is there something that can happen locally? What's the role of tech companies as well as schools and the education system in this conversation?
Yes, I think while locally we can start to develop policies that really enable children to participate online that's safe, but also restricts them from harmful content. So I think when it comes down to having a holistic approach to keeping children safe online. So what can parents do? How do we empower parents, teachers, schools, as well as industry to really look at the child and place them at the center of keeping them safe online?
All right, I've got to thank you for your time. Rachana Desai weighing in there and just letting us know about some of the observations that she and her team have made and made a contribution to this year's report, Child Gauge report, about the state of online and the use of technology and the impact on young people's mental health.